All right, so you know what time it is. It is just 3 o'clock, which means you're in 1 hour of great conversations, premium gist, and so much more. Ladies, I can't believe it's just Wednesday. With everything that's been happening so far, honestly, it feels like Niger is a real-time soap opera, and we are just the actors in it. There was this life so beautiful.
Everything seems to be falling apart. Sometimes it turns into God.
Yeah, but
this life.
Because I was blessed on
this life is a
super story.
Oh, this is super. I know that part.
Exactly.
This is super story.
So this life is a
I know that part.
This is our Niger life is a super
But you know, if this was a soap opera, I often think about that. This was a soap opera, and we'll watch it and be like, what's wrong with these people? Like, do they really want us to believe that this is happening? But no, you know, by the snake eating the money, the baboon eating the money, killing or something. So we'll be like,
seriously?
How about the one? Is it rats infesting the...
Somebody posthumous stories you hear that
God.
are incredible to believe. I won't lie.
Honestly.
If we're not in Nigeria, and you know, I think it would be difficult to, would struggle to believe.
Even
but
in
I think,
Nigeria, we still struggle to believe.
Oh my.
you know,
And Catherine, you look fetching actually today.
wow.
I have to put that out there in case there's something you're trying to achieve so that you can really get what you need.
Why is she twirling her hair?
I would not
What's
know.
doing you? Who's watching? Is this somebody watching we should know?
Hi! Hey, God,
Hello, bros. Hi, sir. Hi, bros. Hi, sir. How are you?
Are you please kidding me?
Please, I like to eat sushi.
Yes.
What do you like to eat? You cannot go to cafe if you do not go through us.
Exactly. We are the sushi eaters.
Sushi, we like movies, a nice sweet red wine.
Yes, and
there's
guinea
this
fowl.
one roasted guinea fowl that we like. Catherine.
Excuse me, I think we need to catch our breath and take stock of the big events that have happened in the country so far. Don't mind the ladies. But no, seriously, guys.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday were heavy.
Yeah,
Oh boy. When light came yesterday,
and they brought it back about 12 -ish.
listen,
Yeah,
the way
everybody.
I
Not
jumped
everybody.
up,
Other people had been getting, but a lot more people.
I don't
had
know if we had light or I was just too tired to notice.
Oh, you were
but
micing
the
your
gen was
card
on.
as usual.
No.
And you only lit the light of a candle. A bushel. And you even kept it under a bushel.
Well, really, I don't know. I'll have to go home and check. I don't know whether there was light or not.
I know. Do you know why I know? I think I've trained myself so much after getting used to NEPA taking lights and bringing it. If you're on gen or inverter, there's a way that the light flickers when NEPA comes, especially if it's automatic or they switch over.
Yeah.
And then there's some fans or some things like
Will pick up.
So subconsciously, asleep or awake, I'm like, okay, they brought light. I can wake up and know that they brought light because there's a change in the sound of the fan when it's on inverter.
when you were asleep.
I'm telling you.
I think what I use is that I used to have that noisy changeover alarm, but when it expired itself, I refused to renew it. So I now use my neighbor's own vicariously. Because at that time I found out that we all had
Everybody has it.
Yeah,
so why
what's
don't
the
I
point?
have peace in my home while they have chaos?
So that sound is what makes you know.
Yes,
that,
actually when I hear
You know, everybody has that thing. For me, it's my neighbor opposite. I just go down because I have like.
I don't even know what it looks
and
like.
check. I need to just check. Once the security lights are out, I know
Yeah,
that
because
there's
some lights are only on NEPA.
Yes, on NEPA.
So I know that, but I know that Jesus Christ. The way I didn't know I had that in me. So quickly, the way I zoomed out, I got down from the bed, zoomed to just go and like there is light. I said, Father Lord, I won't take
puts on
some
your
things for
generator?
And my
granted. I
freezer
won't
and
take.
fridge. The way I left my room to turn them on.
I'm telling you.
My goodness.
Do you know you would just be happy because there's lights? You know, these are things that
Are supposed to be. Do you know, every time, the first time I ever traveled out of the country, it was so embarrassing because, you know, they put off every light. So I was struggling to charge my phone and iron. And my sister kept looking at me that, why are you doing that? I said, because they will take lights. So I just had this look at that was years ago.
Thank you.
And it happened because, you know, they put off their lights purposefully.
Because of bills.
I wasn't used, I just knew everyone was kind of quiet. So I was panicking that, when would they bring lights to that car?
No,
But I found that.
We thank God.
And I have since then
You have seen the lights.
acclimatized.
And seen the lights.
I even leave my battery to run out to the last bar and I just click it on. Anyway, moving on. there is something that I actually discovered over the weekend, and I wanted to bring it up because more important events, took it over. And I discovered, and this is very shocking to me, because there are people that pay as little as 2K to 10K. So they will hook you up to girls. Yes. This was not even done. It was tested.
Tested?
You pay 2K, they send you numbers of people, pictures of people. In fact, they send you videos.
What kind of videos?
As in...
Explicit videos.
Explicit videos, implicit videos, all sorts of videos. I have heard that all kinds of things, I've heard about all kinds of things that the lengths people go to for a bit of fun and money. Honestly, this one beats me, honestly. This one really did beat my imagination, because when I was sharing with the girls, they were looking at me like incredulous, like, hey, Lola. It wasn't just that, it was the easy access that was my problem. It gives different meanings to girls. It's like girls for hire or virtual assistants. I know this generation is all about pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo, but it seems like all caution has been thrown to the wind. Is this what it means to be sexually liberated? Or is this something that speaks more, to a total degradation and loss of values and morals? I'm not coy. I know there are some things that are shrouded in secrecy and darkness just to put some prestige to it. But to blatantly advertise yourself with your face in it and what you're selling is you, it's a bit too much for me to take. I don't mind if you do it behind a veil. It's been done for years.
I'm not so surprised, because
for 2K,
it's... Well, if you stay a little longer on social media, this thing they're paying for, you see it. Yes, if you just stay a little longer on social media, some of these videos and pictures, you will see them. The people who strip and take pictures, why are we acting surprised?
On Instagram, I thought there was a censoring of that.
Why are we acting surprised? There was a picture that went viral. This lady went to a popular restaurant, went to the restroom, locked the door, stripped, and took a picture. And people were like, is this not this restaurant? This is not your house. You went to a restaurant, stripped, and took a picture. So I don't know why we're surprised. We
are not surprised. I think Lola is struggling with, is this what the intent behind sexual liberation was? For you to now be so cheap.
And
that your number is only worth 2,000 naira.
Imagine somebody needs your contact.
Is it that?
And they'll pay me 2K. It just shows, for me, it is a lack of esteem. Because as a human, even if that is the trade that I perpetrate or I sell, I would put some prestige on myself.
Somebody will say, who prestige help? That's the street balance. Who prestige
helps in value. It helps in
value.
Valuation.
If you talk to some of these people who have such proclivities, they will tell you that, it's desperation. Now, what am I supposed to do?
No, all of it is not desperation.
In an environment or in an economy or in a climate where things are as complicated as they are. And I say, why don't you think of doing something constructive? There has to be some level of decorum.
But wait, if there was no demand, would there be supply?
Yeah, but don't supply in public like that.
There are obviously clients, Johns, whatever you want to call them, they are willing to pay. Yeah, and I will say this because I always say it, the biggest prostitutes are not the ones you're seeing whose number is 2K. No. They're not the ones you see on Allen Avenue.
We know.
The biggest ones, they don't advertise.
I know. Yeah. But
they don't advertise.
I'm just saying that we need to continue to talk to our younger generation, that they have so much value in them, that it cannot be that easy. And not even this time, I'm all about sexual liberation. I'm liberating myself on a daily basis. But there are spaces for it and ways to do things that you are not cheapening yourself. Can you buy slippers for 2K?
Yes.
Even if you want to buy noodles, that means you are buying just a plate of noodles without egg.
We talk about men objectifying women. We talk about see-finish culture, but we don't talk about the part that women are playing in all
Yes.
of that. There are women who give themselves freely to men. So some men will still see that 2K as too much. Like, I know where I can get it.
Then go and meet the one that is free. Everybody has, people will pay the price that they feel that they can pay.
The danger in that is that when men now have access to all, that's why you see these days men are not afraid. It's not like before where you see a category of women say, no, don't approach it. They approach anything because it gives them the impetus. When you sleep with the one that is Bonanza, you come to the one of 2K. You literally feel like Bonanza. So you literally feel like all women are the same. So there's this mindset now that all of them are just packaging. That's the danger in all of this, because if men distinctively know that women are different from women, they would respect themselves. But now a lot of them will feel like the ones you not see on the road, you see them in the gym.
Yeah.
That's another one.
It's
That's
true.
But the thing is,
the prices are
whether we
different.
like it or not, if we don't speak up
You're
about
this thing and then you pretend as if you
it would
didn't say
affect.
anything.
Everybody keeps saying it won't affect me. Your sons are growing up. Your husbands are out there. Your boyfriends are there. You know, so some of these things are just always interconnected. We just need to keep empowering the minds of our younger generation that they have more value beyond. The 2K was. It was just too much.
So wait, if you heard that it was 10,000 naira, would you feel better? If you heard that it was 50,000 naira for certain girls' phone numbers and access to their pictures, would you feel better?
Even 10.
I think for me,
I would even say at least you put some blockades on the way to getting access to you. No. Because some people will never pay premium for that. And that might just discourage them and maybe run you out of business.
You'll be shocked that the ones who are collecting 2K are the daughters and sons of rich men and women.
They just
Did they even tell you that? Because Lolo, did they tell you it's non-negotiable?
With self-esteem. No, there's a lot to it. So you can find that some young women who unfortunately find themselves in prostitution is it could be a consequence of the economic situation. Two, it could be a consequence of sexual trauma. Unfortunately, a lot of young people, male and female, who are victims of sexual trauma early on, end up having hypersexuality. They find themselves in these sort of situations. So there's a gamut of things along the spectrum. So white people find themselves. So I'm very reluctant to judge. I'm all for own your power, own your sexual power. I'm very deliberated, but I agree with her, the 2K, but I'm not the one to judge because I don't know what that 2K is doing for someone's life. I'm very...
And I'm just feeling, Botolu, you know that it has become more dangerous times.
Of course.
Because some of these people that get access to some of these people, you know that sometimes numbers give you access to some people's data and their whereabouts. So sometimes it's totally unsafe. I keep begging women that these days, even if you want to do this hookup thing, is it possible to do it as a group?
Nope.
So that you can be a bit safe.
You'll pay group price.
So that you can be a bit safe, because they are singling women out, raping them, killing them, kidnapping them.
I think if you look at it, and I keep saying that Nigeria is one of the countries with we're the most reserved in terms of the sexual play. We owning our sexuality.
It is a lie. We're hypocrites. We like to pretend to be reserved in front. Every year when Google releases its rankings for pornography and certain things,
Nigeria must rank.
Where are the francophone countries in all of this? Where are the francophone countries? Because I'm saying this because we know we hide a lot. We hide a lot under different umbrellas of church, umbrellas of society, umbrellas of we just want to be seen to be doing well. But now, if you look at it, this is a ripple. Listen, this conversation is a conversation that can keep going.
It can keep going.
Because it's not even sexual liberations for Gen Zs and all. They are married men and women who are delving into this because they are also looking for safe spaces, in the sense that if you're going with a married man or married woman, you have a lot to lose. So there's that space of, okay, we understand what we're doing, but we're still...
What were we talking about in makeup the other day? When they're swinging. If you don't
know,
please, we're all adults.
Honestly,
there's a lot going on. So it's easy to pick on the younger generation and say, somebody's saying, send 2K, I'll send you fine girl. The older generation too, the things they're involved in this are Lagos. I don't want to say just Lekki, because we make Lekki sound like Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's the whole of Lagos.
I mean, the other day, we're talking about the cider budge thing. Do you think it's the younger generation that is sponsoring that kind of mindset?
Do you think?
No. But me, I will shall say this, Sha. If you like, call me mother of the nation. Girls, be safe out there. Just make sure you are safe. I'm begging you, because
Lola, there's no safety. Do you know why I say
Yeah.
that? Because even in the
Carry-
home,
they
they're
should
not
carry
safe.
pepper
You can
spray.
be with a boyfriend for 5 years and it's the one that kills you, rather than even the person you're meeting 6 months down the line.
And you can be in the house where you think you're safe, and then your uncle, your mother's brother, or your father's
We're
sister,
putting
or
the
somebody.
safety on the victim. Let's
Please, can they
demand
start-
the safety?
I'd
Let's
like to
demand the
buy an apartment
responsibility
in
from
Mars
men.
already. Can they start selling?
All
All right,
Nice.
ladies,
Mars.
this is a conversation that we definitely would like to delve into more next week. But do share with us on our socials. We want to hear your thought. At News Central TV, what does sexual liberation really mean to you? Use the hashtag Jasiri so we know that you're watching. We want to hear your thoughts and keep the discussion going. After the break, we'll be exploring trending stories and events. Don't go anywhere. Jasiri returns shortly.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. We're at News Central TV. This is what happens when we have conversations behind the scenes during the break. Now use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversation. So into one of the biggest stories of the week. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, have suspended their indefinite nationwide strike for 5 days. This decision comes after a meeting with the federal government where President Bola Tinubu committed to establishing a new minimum wage higher than the previously offered 60,000 naira. The tripartite committee will convene daily to finalize an agreeable national minimum wage within the next week. Now, we have a lot of questions about that, and we know that there's daily meetings. We've heard, of course, we will give you more than 60,000. We had a conversation about that. But the strike has been put on hold for a week, and Labour is saying that at the end of the week, if things are not agreed, they're back out there. And I'm struggling from Monday to Tuesday and a half to think about the possibilities of having the strike resume on Monday. So I wondered if Labour has successfully in some way boxed government into a corner, and we should be expecting something a lot more reflective.
For the NLC, every season
Why?
there is, I don't trust those people.
I think you've never
So they
really
should have
trusted
stayed
them
on
from-
strike until there was a full-on agreement.
No, but my problem is the vague agreements they agree that they are. I don't.
But this is not the final
They're working on the
agreement.
final details.
This is not the final. This is
They're
not the first
working on
time
the
they say
final
things like they're
details.
putting it on hold and then it resumes and then.
I understand where Blessings is coming from because you don't know what to expect. Yes, you're in negotiations. You have 5 days. The president has promised, the man knows how to talk. He knows how to say things that, tickle your fancy and get you agreeing to go to wherever he's leading you to go. I understand that. But at the same time saying, the truth is, look at now. After 5 days, NLC, I didn't expect that the strike would be called off that, quickly. I understand and I appreciate it because, oh God,
Yeah,
I slept
it was
well
tough.
last night.
When the lights came back.
Everybody rejoiced.
No, yes.
So I think because they worked in unison this time, all the unions worked
Yes.
Came together.
I think the light itself was that wheel turner for me,
As
where
far
there
as
was
My
blackout.
issue is
When I
the
look at
agreement,
it,
like what are they agreeing to?
Catherine, it's nice to articulate it,
Yeah.
but do you know that this is not the first time that they will get to even
I know.
reach agreements that were never acted upon?
But that's not their fault. You reach an agreement with a party that is responsible for action. How do you blame me for a lack of action?
But the thing
when
is,
they did
there is
warning strike earlier
precedence.
this
So
year,
it
the
feels
warning strike was
precedence.
based on the fact that government had not met the previous agreement.
It feels
the
as
thing-
though
the
the
precedence
government
makes
already
me
knows
not
that they
to
can sway
trust.
you with words.
Okay, so
and,
what-
and
The
push-
precedence that is
So
on
you should be
ground
saying you're
makes me.
disappointed in the government and you're upset with the government, not with the NLC and the TUC if they're holding out on
So
this.
how about they come to an agreement that okay, if this doesn't happen, then we go on a 1 month or something. Why do we keep having this issue of okay, we'll suspend it, we'll go next week. If they don't know anything, we'll go again another 2 days.
Because
We
it's
agree.
negotiation.
Because they
No.
have to
They
think
have to
about
keep having faith
everybody.
and having hope.
Don't think about
I
me.
remember when the government had this
I mean,
agreement
you are not the average
with the
Nigerian.
health
I am.
workers.
No, you're not.
I
Blessings,
remember-
don't sit here and say that you're not the average. None of us is the average Nigerian.
You know what
I
going
remember
through?
how
It's
many
not as much as
times
other people are going
ASU
through.
went to strike and they reached agreement, and for years there's still backlog of answer to the prayer they prayed years ago
Is
that
it
they
ASU's
didn't
fault?
follow through. I'm not saying it's TUC's fault or NLC.
So what are you saying?
I am just saying that we will be here when we'll be here to fight again for implementation.
Okay, so we'll hear be here.
We
All
will
right.
be here.
So what do you think the unions can
My
do?
own is hold off until you get something
Do you
concrete.
understand something
Choco,
tangible?
It
because
is
they will
easy
not want
to
to
say,
ground.
it-
They will not want to ground
No,
the
but-
nation to a halt. They would not want to
just
do
like
it.
Lolo said, it's a rodeo. Do you understand, Catherine? If you keep promising me something, if I tell you that if you don't give me, I won't come again, and then you say, okay, I'm going to give you a little above, but not up to, we'll talk about it, and then I'm like, okay, we've agreed. That's not an agreement. That's just something you say to sway me to keep doing what you want me to do.
Do you think there's been things that have been promised, on the side that we're not? Because like Solo has said one time, there's some things that are classified that not everybody's privy to know.
Oh, you want to tell me during this meeting there's no budget, no allocation for those things? Oh, please.
You were not the fly in the room.
I'm saying that do you think that there's been, for them to quickly go back to status quo, even if it's for 1 week, there's been some negotiation, silent, offers on the side that
made them just
Labour is not, telling us about,
government.
or because it seems like everybody, like hearing how passionate both of you are, like, oh, this is not the first time Labour is doing this. But at the same time, guys, I understand when Tulu says we are not the average. If you go on the street, it's harsh.
But at least they signed. We see this
how
paper
many
signed.
people, we understand and we want to be part of the movement of the NLC, but the reality is that how do people still, because there's some people who earn on a daily basis, and that not earning on a daily basis, ça le coince, it makes them stuck, quelque part. And then they're feeling, how do we reconcile that? How do I go home and people don't have food to eat? Guys,
Catherine, let's imagine. Let's just imagine hypothetically that if they ask us that truly, if we hold out on government for a whole month,
can we do?
No,
can
I said hypothetically that if it is stamped and done, the God signed on it, that if we can hold off on the government for a whole month, we'll be able to overturn this harsh economic downturn.
But unfortunately, your country is not built. The majority of your population is not built to withstand a full-on strike for even a week. Let's be honest with ourselves. We are not the average
in 1 month,
Nigerian.
I know how much I spent in terms of, because my sisters, comfort is key. Je ne peux pas supporter tout ça là. There's
whatever you said.
No,
Avik.
Salah.
C'est bien. Et tout?
No, I said, I know how much I spend in terms of petrol.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at your comfortability,
convenience and
convenience.
Yeah.
You're looking at your convenience. So and you're saying, man, I cannot. So there's some people, imagine me spending how much I spent on petrol. Imagine how much people spend just to make sure they're also comfortable. People whose children, that, listen, we need to sleep well so we can function well, optimally. And then the people who cannot afford that. Food in the fridge and freezer. Didn't we not sit on this table and say the first thing that we ran to was to put on our fridges and freezers? Just because, so...
But do you know this is so disheartening to look at? Can you bring that thing back up?
I wanted us to go back to that first slide that shows how the National Assembly's budget has grown while the minimum wage has grown. Minimum wage has
since 2019.
At 2019.
We have been on no increment, 30,000 naira.
So I really always wonder
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
I really always wonder how the national minimum wage in Nigeria is calculated. I know it's based on 5 working days and 8 hours, but that's not enough. So when I was doing business, and you would see the unions in South Africa, they would calculate the national minimum wage based on how much inflation had come in, the average cost of transportation. They would put all those things together to arrive at a living wage for what they were demanding from government. And these wages were meant to be reviewed every 2 years. And South African unions, they don't send you, they will go on strike. But that's also because, one, the unions have the backing of the people. Let me tell you, this is the first time in a long time that I've seen the Nigerian people behind the NLC and the TUC. And one of the reasons is because of what you put up. It's because we see how much National Assembly is getting as a line item in the national budget. We hear that senators and National Assembly members are taking home newspaper allowance, city allowance, entertainment allowance.
Their cars.
Their money for certain things is even more than the 400 and something thousand naira per month that they're asking for. So when I said it on Monday that unfortunately our government and National Assembly, they lack the moral standing to be the ones having this conversation and begging Labour to step back. But that is part of the reason that's doing them in right now.
All of this that we have said, don't we think that if we at least try to hold off for a week, it's going to push the government into action? Because the truth is, whether or not we call off the strike, the average Nigerian will still suffer. Suffer longer if nothing is done.
It's done. And I don't even know, a majority of Nigerians are business owners. And I know that it's not like everything went comatose. It's just civil servants.
No, it wasn't just civil servants.
And,
I know. Informal sector.
A lot of, yes, most of the parts of the informal sector, but the informal sector was still servicing
No,
little by little.
You know, if you ask me, I would say we are a very intelligent people. If we sat down and said, look at all the data Tolu has shared, look at all the data that we have shared with you guys also. If we sit down and find more intelligent ways of getting the government to sit down
Like
in
what?
one place.
Like
Don't we, when we
about riots.
The only thing we have now as Nigerians is our voice. Let's be honest.
We are, guys, listen, and don't take it badly. We are a very loud people, but we lack the gusto. You talked about South Africa, how they will, you know, listen, we saw a lot of things, but we are not ready to go down and dirty.
Of course, Nigerians are pampered. Nigerians are mentally pampered.
How are we pampered?
Do you know?
Who is pampering me?
Oh, wait. Look at South Africa, for example. They faced apartheid. And they
What they
knew
did, we
what
wouldn't do it.
hardship meant in full force.
Everybody's
At least in
trauma
this
is not going to be the
21st,
same.
at least
True.
in our lifetime, we still saw South Africa struggle to come out of apartheid.
Where they were, yeah.
Where they were, something that many countries had left behind for years. So they are companions with pain.
So they are waiting.
They are willing to fight.
Where am I as a Nigerian mentally pampered by my politicians?
Oh,
So
but
tell
look
me,
at you
please
now.
tell
When
me.
they just make you promises, fleeting promises, you quickly shoot your sword.
So do you know
and
what I
hope
think?
again.
Do you know what I think the difference is? South Africa had to struggle with apartheid for a long time, but they had a unified voice. And they knew that if they amplified the voice, something will be done. But a lot of Nigerians, the average Nigerian feels like for years we've been talking, for years we've taken action. We've even moved the youth, you know, NSAS. We've gone out to vote en masse, nothing came out. So every Nigerian now is trying to be, I don't know whether to say paranoia or everybody's just selfish in their own way. Like, I don't want this to backfire, right? Let's everybody just go back to their house. I think that's what is wrong with us because we've not seen results.
We are traumatized.
We are not united in that sense. Because everyone is thinking
Were you more traumatized than South Africa when they faced apartheid?
You cannot, my pain is not their pain. You cannot equal pain to pain. You
But
cannot
the
equal
thing
trauma
is,
to trauma.
Nigerians have to get to a point that when push comes to shove, when you are pushed to the wall, sometimes flight or fight.
So
We should get to
adapting.
that point that Labour should not just take the promise of government. Because they've done it a lot. That's why when I keep saying it's the same rodeo, everybody keeps, I know how many times government have promised and even written down agreements that they were going to do this, do that. And of course, at every turn they defaulted.
Whose fault?
So they should
What
go
else-
to them distract
What else do you want them to
with no
do?
trust.
All right. Hold it. What else do you want them to do? Again,
Hold down.
I
Calm
will
down.
say
Calm
again
down.
that this is the first strike in a long time that Labour and
TUs and the
TUs,
unions,
they have the
yeah,
support of Nigerians.
yeah.
Let's also not forget, this minimum wage is not just for public servants. The moment it's signed into law, your driver gets this minimum wage.
Yeah.
Your nanny gets this minimum
Okay,
wage.
can we
have
hold
private
on?
sector involved.
Can
It's
we
not as
calm
simple
down?
as what
Can
we're
we
saying.
calm
Let's
down?
go to
We
market.
want to go on a short break
I'll
now.
take your wig off.
When we come, they will fight behind the scenes. I don't want you to see that. So when we
snatch your
come
wig.
back, we'll
I'll
continue.
snatch
Stay
your
with
wig.
us. All right, thanks for staying with us on Jasiri. I mean, we were talking about, you know, the strike being called off or being suspended and all. It's a good thing, but I mean, there are different angles to it. There's more to, how do they say, there's more to it than meet the eye. You know? But this next story is just heartbreaking. Now, if this news has flown by you in recent time because of all that's going on, then you need to pay close attention. A popular blog site has been carrying this news of two friends identified as Celine and Afiba, who were declared missing after they left Port Harcourt to visit a Facebook friend, Andrew Amechi, in Aba on the 27th of April. A video, your what?
My birthday.
Now, a video emerged alluding to them being held hostage by Andrew in his home. And when approached by the police, Andrew apparently refused to give the girls' whereabouts, and he was reportedly, mark my words, reportedly killed while trying to escape arrest. Since then, several women have come forward to recount how they were victims of the same person, lured to his home where they were held against their will and raped. Apparently, he was also wanted in the UK.
Now, activist Harrison Gwamnishu first made the news public and flew to Aba to investigate. This week, he said that a decomposing body was found in Andrew's home with parts missing and wrapped in a curtain similar to the ones found in his home, although it's uncertain if the body belongs to either of the missing women. Their whereabouts are still unknown. We've put together several clips of this story. Let's take a look.
Now, this is Andrew's house. This is the curtain. This is the Andrew's type of curtain. Are you seeing it? From the parlor? Yeah. From the parlor. Then we are going to the room now so that you see the type of curtain that he uses. Police are here from IROT office Abuja. They have been with us yesterday morning. Yesterday, sorry, we've been searching, and this morning we located something happened. From dead body, they use a curtain to wrap the dead bodies. So if you get to the house, the same curtain you use to wrap the dead body here is what you're going to find in the house. So from here now, we'll go back to the house so that we can compare. You see that the curtain here and the one in the house are the same.
Bye, baby. Bye. Sorry. Bye. Mama, Celine.
So that video is of the two girls whose whereabouts remain unknown as of right now, and their names again, Celine and Afiba. They were reportedly declared missing after they left Port Harcourt to visit a Facebook friend who has now been identified as Andrew Amechi. Now, also, a lot of other things we're finding out. He's supposedly, or was, and I'll get to that, was supposedly a businessman in Aba in Abia State who died after he was arrested in connection with their disappearance on April 27, 2024. So he was also reportedly wanted in the United Kingdom as well for sexual assault. Now, the FIJ found that the UK police had declared him wanted in March 2023. He was wanted in connection with the sexual assault of a woman in Milton Keynes in June 2019. But aside from that, this story has brought about so many conversations. And one of the things I really want us to tackle head on is the castigation of victims, particularly women, when they find themselves, when they end up being victims of situations like this. There's a lot of blame going on around social media right now that how do you leave your home to go and visit a stranger? Is it because he was showing you a nice house and flashy vehicles? That unfortunately the victims only have themselves to blame if they have unfortunately been killed. We don't know yet. Again, their whereabouts are still unknown, but that's a lot of the conversation, a lot of reactions on social media. Ladies, what do you think?
I think that's totally unfair because this man actually, I want to borrow Tolu's word, grooms them.
Yeah.
It's not like they just see him today and many of us have met people, practically strangers. We were all strangers to one another at a point. Yeah. But it's by conversation and interaction that, you know, and of course when it comes to romance, of course you would meet up someone and you want to meet the person physically to be able to, you know, get to know them a little more. And how would you blame anyone for that?
Didn't she even do well by taking a friend with her?
Taking a friend with her.
Don't we even say take people with you, let people know your whereabouts?
I think there has to be something wanting, something young people are looking for. Acceptance being, I don't know, because you leave your house and you go visit a stranger, someone you've never met, even if you're going with your friend or your friends, you're going with someone you never met. So there's that lure of excitement for you. There's that lure of adventure for you. And you're going thinking, oh, let me just have a fine time. Are we tying, is all of this back to the ripple effect of what happens on social media? So Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook.
I don't think so.
And then when friends compare notes, you sit down and say, oh, I met this person, and you feel like you are not getting enough action. And so, okay, this happens on Facebook. I know many people who say, oh, they meet people on Facebook, especially foreign.
Don't you remember the story we were talking about in Makeup about the lady who met somebody on Facebook? They've been talking for a while, young girl actually, and she went to meet him and he killed her. We have the stories of the makeup artist, the caterer. I think they were here in Lagos that were actually going for a job. They told everybody where they were going. We have even one chance is as simple as saying, why did you get into that car? Why won't I get into that car? Is everybody not getting transport?
For me, I'm not trying to blame anyone, to be honest, right? They were victims. And then the case of the makeup artist and caterer, they were going to do their job. But I just don't know why we've gotten so comfortable meeting people in their houses. What happened to meeting people in public spaces? You're meeting this person for the first time. Like it or not, chat on social media for years. This person is still a stranger to you until you're comfortable enough.
Blessings. People meet for the first time in public places.
And then
the second time in public places. The third time in public places. It could be a year after you've had all these meetings. And something can still go.
I know it's possible. You can never be too careful but at least try. Like, I can't. There's a I don't know a video of one of the TikTok influencers that was trending earlier, I think in the month or so. She posted a video or a picture of herself and her man. She didn't even post the man's face. Yeah. And then Twitter did its job. Twitter literally brought out 5 or 6 pictures of the same house, like literally the same house, the same air freshener on the AC, with different girls. So different girls going to visit their man, taking pictures, you know, close to the AC, and people are like, all of you are dating the same guy.
You want to go and do Google reverse image
like,
search.
so there were many practices that used to exist in the olden days. In Yoruba, they call it alarino. Alarino is that middle man or middle woman. In some cultures, some religion, you go with chaperone.
My parents did it for my husband's family.
Oh, yeah, really?
What was it? So it's
Yeah.
when you investigate the family of somebody that somebody wants to get married. My parents did it. I did not know.
Yes.
My father had my husband's family investigated in Lagos.
Yes, there are some good qualities to that. Because if people do, you know, the way social media has become, everybody is growing themselves the way they see it. And that means you don't know anybody as much as you should know them.
Even the person
and
I'm
now,
married to, Lord, will you know anybody 100%?
Did we all have our experiences? Did you meet them? Did they look okay? Did they look? No, I keep saying to us that, honestly, I think these days, it's only providence and maybe God that can preserve you. Because there are many psychopaths that are available. You know, in Nigeria, we're not really into serial killers and psychopaths.
They exist.
We don't they exist.
Meanwhile, they exist.
Well,
They're rampant in our
Did you know one
society.
guy that was caught in the East that used to kill women and bury them in his house?
Recent. Last year.
It's like last year. That
was last
boy,
year,
that Daniel, there's one boy I follow on.
Katrina, something.
He
I remember
would
this
kill them and bury them
Yeah.
in his house.
Yeah.
And he has been doing it for years.
So I want us to take some of the reactions, and also as we talk about this, to the point that Blessings made, we also remember the guy who called himself Killer Boy, who killed his girlfriend and then ran, and then was on social media trying to blame the victim. You're the one who made me do this. Was crying all over it. Let's take some of the reactions.
By the way, he's still not been caught.
Yes, and that will take us to another part of this Andrew story. So we have reactions here. Chidex899 says, since you girls don't want to stay with your cool guy and get married to him, that's all what you get. Things like this would still happen again. This is not the first time. It would not be the last time. Now, somebody replied to him and said, remembers a cool guy who killed his girlfriend in his house? That's Killer Boy. Hope you remember that story. Anyone can be a victim. Yes. And of course, that just leads to the fact that we can do everything we want and we know. Lock our doors, do everything, meet them in public today, tomorrow, for 5 years. And whoever is going to be the crazy person who harms you will harm you. And a lot more people are harmed not by strangers, but by people they know.
So I think street smart here and self-defense, just being alert though.
Is good.
Being alert and being intentional about what you do. Don't just go with the flow. That, oh my God, like I say, there's always a wave of excitement. Oh my God, adventure.
But it happens to any new romance. It happens to the best of us.
But then again, how we talk about, you know, ladies or even generally people being alert, you know, you have to be careful and all. And this is a little bit of a deviation from going to people's houses, but how alert is a society? I remember sharing a story here the other day that I entered into a BRT because someone was following me. And the boss guy just stepped aside. And this guy
I was being chased on Okada by an ex. I told you guys. Okada dropped me for the How alert is society?
I saw a documentary of a girl. She was... the guy in our office was, you know, crushing on her, and then the guy was let go. How did they say? He was fired from the job, and she was dating someone at the time. After that, she started getting messages from this guy, you know, and she reported to the police, and they're like, they can't tag it stalking yet, you know, until they have evidence and stuff like that. And before you know, this guy broke into her house and stabbed her 27 times. How alert is the society?
I think also we have to ask questions of the police, because the report from FIJ says that he was actually, while he was arrested and detained, he was actually living large in prison. Then he was meant to be transferred. I think this case was meant to be transferred to Abuja, and on attempting to escape from arrest, he was shot. There's nobody. There have been questions. People have asked questions. FIJ and a number of other journalists have reached out. The body has not been seen. It's not necessarily all the time that we see bodies, you know, but people are asking questions because it's unfortunately would not be the first time that we've been told a criminal escaped or was killed, and somehow later on we find out that that's not the real story.
Like what happened in South Africa even the other time. I can't remember the name.
There's so many gory stories that we can.
South Africa, there's a guy.
There was a tweet. There was a reaction that was brought,
but his girlfriend helped him escape.
Yeah. There was a reaction, I think, on X that was put up before that was saying that these girls have been chatting with this guy for 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years, Tolu.
If
for
we
God's
get
sake.
that reaction back,
They said, funny how people bash ladies without reading well. From the first post, it stated that they have been chatting for over 5 years. I mean, 5 good years. Hey, I've met a lot of people from online that I've been doing business with and trusted them with my millions. That is to say, I can trust and visit them without knowing their motives. I built my second home in Lagos through a Facebook friend. Until date, I haven't met her in person. Okay. So, you see that?
Yeah.
Please scrap this, whatever, blaming these ladies because it can happen to anyone. Just last 6 months, I gave a total stranger that's been my friend for 6 years 10 million naira just to put it in his account for proof of income. And UK just approved his visa for studying in their country. He even asked to send me the money, but I told him to keep it in his account until he moved there. These ladies went on trust because they thought the man was responsible and all of that. Let's just pray. They see them live, alive or dead, so the families can get some peace. Like we say, potato.
I think, and then, you know, we've spoken about gender-based violence in our society, how much of the time victims don't leave or victims don't come out because they're not believed, or we have this victim blaming. And as Blessing said, society needs to be alert. The majority of the feedback on this has been almost a story of a cautionary tale to women. There's no cautionary tale to men. And I think that's what is needed. Killer Boy is still on the loose. Where's the cautionary tale?
Did you even
when we see men arrested and there's trial and there's charge and they go to jail and there's punishment, you start showing a cautionary tale. And you talked about it earlier. We need to raise our boys better. No is a complete sentence. And rejection from a woman is not the end of the world. You need to take the no and move on. And also, there are women on social media who also try to feed into this. Oh, but he didn't pursue me. I told him no once, and then he stop it. You're not helping. When you say no, you say if you like him, say I like you. I'm not ready. Which one is no? And I expected you to
very
try harder.
clear.
He will try harder with you. Go to another woman and try harder and end up raping.
Did you even see on social media, there was a video I saw, it was very uncanny. I think this young man raped a mad woman. Do you know people just...
They were recording.
I saw that.
It was 2 weeks ago.
And afterwards, he was trying to get her to go with him somewhere.
He sat down with her and was talking to her, and people were still recording.
I'm
all
like,
right, guys,
the society has become something else.
The society and what we're talking about
is not society.
We are the society. People will see people literally running, shouting for help, and everybody will just look at
Blessings asked the question, really, how, as a society, do we even present that avenue that people can feel safe as a society? Listen, still on this Harrison guy, did you know that Harrison has reported a similar incident involving Andrew and another lady, identified as Allison, who ran away from him when she was raped. Now, she sustained injuries or other injuries as she was escaping, jumping down from his balcony.
Wow.
According to him, the case was closed with the help of the police. Now, the case was closed with the help of the police.
This is not a minor.
Listen, do you know when somebody is running for their lives, you run. As in, at that point in time, you don't care. You're moving on adrenaline and the will to live.
And then another lady, Taniola Ajanaku, also claimed that Andrew has been sliding into her DM on Facebook. She said, this man has been in my inbox on Facebook. When I saw what happened, I quickly rushed to Facebook to confirm, and I realized he was the one. I'm speechless. Honestly, anyone could have been a victim because he looks too responsible and calm. It is well. And so we're talking about the fact that he's been in conversation with them for 5 years. Even while he was in conversation with them, he was obviously in conversation with other women. So he was in a constant cycle of grooming.
Did you see him giving them nice dinners?
Did we not talk about love bombing before?
Yes, we did actually.
There's so
see that
much.
lady will ask them, tell them.
Look at how he looks.
Look at how he looks. Just look at this gentleman. Won't you think? And he's always. Did you see how many shoes they saw in his house, lined up? polished,
Nigerian police,
nice shoes.
Please, this story is not one that we want buried because we don't know whose bodies were discovered. We don't know if those were the 2 ladies missing or even previous victims. If he's dead, find a way to calm the public's fears and concerns and prove or something, because this is not a story that we're ready to bury. It is absolutely not.
No, it's not. It is. So the Nigerian police, please let us know. Is there any evidence to show that truly the culprit is dead? Dead. We want to see body.
Is he dead?
D-E-D, dead.
D-E-D.
If he's dead, D-E-D, dead. Seriously.
Yes.
But it is something that we have to pay attention
follow
to,
up with.
guys.
Yeah, we'll follow.
Our
Anyway.
men and our women,
And our
please.
women.
Tolu said something. Let's raise our boys, right?
Better.
Our boys, boys who are turning to men.
Yes.
Boys to men.
No is a complete word.
Is it
No, not the end of
word?
the day.
Yeah.
Hey, Father.
Anyway, it's Wednesday, so we want to crush on one of our women that has been making headlines in another part of the world. I'm talking about Claudia Sheinbaum, who has been elected as Mexico's, some would say Mexico's, first female president, securing over 58% and 60% of the votes in Sunday's election. Sheinbaum, who is the former mayor of Mexico City, will take office on the 1st of October, succeeding a mentor, outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
You did well.
Congrats today.
Anyway, she is a climate scientist and she was part of the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change that won a Nobel Peace Prize with former US Vice President Al Gore in 2007. Her background includes a doctorate, so we should be saying doctor, in energy engineering and extensive research on climate change and energy consumption. In 2018, she became the first female mayor of Mexico City, a post that she has held until 2023 when she stepped down to run for president. A woman of many firsts.
I swear.
A woman of many firsts.
I'm so excited.
It is a congratulations to her. I hope that there's inspiration for more female leadership across the world. I'll go straight to the point, ladies and gentlemen. When are we ready to vote for a female? I won't go all the way to presidency, but sometimes, you know, when you think about it, certain people are able to jump what you expect as the trajectory. When are we just going to simply elect a female governor? Have a party that is bold enough to present a female candidate?
That would be an interesting dynamic.
Yes,
to
it
see.
would
and, you know, we're in a state, in an era where we're evolving. We need newness. We need something to give us more, something to believe in.
And I just want to believe
renew
that.
our ginger.
I thought you were going to say hope.
No.
I just want to believe that women
need to focus on our readiness to accept. Because
Your
when
readiness
someone
to
comes,
accept what?
yeah, like from the people, the government,
Themselves.
because it's easy to say, oh, we need a female, this, then when they come, like,
Would one have thought off the top of one's head that a female,
No, machismo. Do you know Mexican men?
but the thing is,
They did it ahead of the US.
Women have showed enough working. We have showed ourselves capable. So it's not about capacity any longer. It's about acceptability. And men being willing to just get off that patriarchal horse and allow women to, every time we say equality, we just want to do the same thing that every human can do. So it's not about gender. For me, it's not just because she's been elected because she's a female. She's capable.
Yeah, she's capable.
So capability, she has the capacity. So I'm not telling them to field one woman from Okoko that has no pedigree. That's not what I am saying. I'm talking about women who have capacity.
yeah, it cuts across the 3 different dimensions, I would say. It takes the willingness to participate, to step up, you know, to it. And then on the part of the other gender, it takes the willingness to step aside and let them do it. And then
Remember the woman that we had as a guest this year? One of our first female guests that talked about how difficult it is for women to stay in politics. There are many women that want to be in politics, but you know, sometimes politics, they run it in a strange way. Imagine telling a married woman, Tolu saying that she had meeting at 12 midnight.
No, it was the one that they were saying the other women are afraid of her telling their husbands what to do. Can we get the data from UN Women? Because I think it's instructive to see how things are shaping up around the world if you have it. But a lot of it is quite interesting, you know. Only 26.5% of parliamentarians in single or lower houses are women, but it's up from 11%. That's not good enough. Globally, there are only 22 states in which women account for less than 10% of parliamentarians in single or lower houses, including one lower chamber, with no women at all. The majority of the world, almost every country is almost 50%, except maybe a China and an India. And we need to really...
Africa.
Please, talk about it.
26% of women legislators, that's in sub-Saharan Africa, followed by Eastern and Southeastern Asia with 22%. Oceania has 20% women, Central and Southern Asia, 19%, and Northern Africa and Western Asia has 18%. There's still a lot.
The numbers are not good.
No,
they really are. There are
they-
only 6 countries that have 50% or more women in parliament, and that's Rwanda, 61%.
And
Cuba,
Rwanda is doing
53,
great, by the way.
Yeah.
Nicaragua, 52, Mexico, 50, New Zealand, 50, United Arab Emirates, 50, not even the US, not even the traditional Western countries that are the quote-unquote
Not
ideals.
even, no.
And at the current rate, I was surprised.
I was
At the
surprised
current rate of
myself.
progress, gender parity in national legislative bodies will not be achieved before 2063.
Are you listening to her? Are you listening to her?
2063. We need to ask there, and I love what Lolo said. It's no longer about capacity. Women have shown workings. There's even data. When you have more women in C-suite in many companies, you do more. You do better.
course.
Companies tend to actually make money longer. The data supports having more women at the table. And one thing I always say is it's like you want to run a race, but you're hobbling yourself. Because we're almost half of the population, depending again in certain countries. Why are we not equally represented in making decisions? And women, when we get into power, we tend to focus more on healthcare, education, things that give the countries longer, progressive results. There is data and reasoning behind giving women a seat at the table. But ladies, remember one thing. Nobody gives up power easily. Power is not given. It's taken.
It's taken.
He's
The
taking
violet
So
ticket is
I
by
think
force.
we should keep building capacity
And
to
then take the power by force.
You take it and move. I'm
Yeah.
good now.
I'm okay. I feel like I'm all
All right, so I hope we enjoyed today's show. Tolu was supposed to do that.
Please go ahead. I'm all exuding passionately out.
We hope you enjoyed.
For equality right now. Just
We hope you enjoyed today's show. I loved every bit of it. Let's do it again tomorrow, guys. From me and the ladies is goodbye.
Bye.